Maneva na sema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
Mr. Owusu.
Sana, time is fast spent, so it will be very snappy and straight to the point. My brother Adomako Kisi, medical doctor, who is a victim of Ken Ofori-Atta's influence. I can understand his difficulty this morning. In one breath, he made us aware that they started the whole business of getting Ken Ofori-Atta out. Why were they pursuing him to be out of government? Because of the very reasons or issues that are in court. They saw it that the man was not helping this country. They saw it that this man was shortchanging us, leading dubious deals. They saw it. They man up 80 of them initially, which later became the majority position. They said no, they will not allow this to happen. They will save the New Patriotic Party. They confronted the president of the day. President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. They confronted him and told him that, Mr. President, the mere fact that you are the president of Ghana does not mean you will not respect the decision of the party, because on the ticket of the party that you became the president. So listening to it, the president said no. Yesterday I was very surprised to hear from the president that no individual is bigger than the party.
That was Thursday.
That was Thursday, right?
Yes.
When he himself was bigger than the party only some few days ago. That is how life works. So he agrees. But I can understand the difficulty, because now in the party, when you go and make certain allusions or make certain statements, you are either referred as a fake person or a member of the virtual party. I don't know where he will be belonging to if he had done anything else. But in terms of principles, and he suffered for it. He lost his seat. Because of this, coupled with the fact that he was an Allah supporter. Sometimes you must call it, we call a spade a spade. That's how we can have the likes of Asafo-J as ranking members. How can he be out of parliament and look at the people we have there? I mean, look, this country, we are doing ourselves a great disservice. That is why if you take the United Party's constitution, ours is selection. It's not everywhere that you go and contest. You will come to the area, the person that qualifies will be who we ourselves will handpick, go and contest. Because this business of elections is breeding a lot of unqualified people to our parliament and so on and so on. So they challenged Ken Ofori-Atta. And at the end of the day, when it mattered most and the opposition said they have filed a censorship motion, it became another matter. The man got away with it. So even in power, when the man was in power, there was an attempt to get him out. Now, on the 2nd of January 2025, Ken Ofori-Atta wrote a letter to the then Chief of Staff, Fremo Opare, requesting for an approval for him to leave the country. The man has not been truthful to the people of this country. We must say it as it is. He said he was going to leave this country on the 4th of January and he will return. He gave a date on the 28th of January 2025. So now what is today's date? Today is the 24th of January 2026. It's left with only 4 days for him to be a year old outside this country against his own promise. When he had not even written back to tell the current administration that, look, I said I was going to return on the 28th of January 2025. Due to A, B, C, D, I'm unable to come. There is nothing of that sort. All you hear is letters coming from a supposed letter, fake one as such, from Mayo Clinic. The man is so ill. Other times you hear from Frank Davis. I don't know whether he's his lawyer, because any release coming from his lawyers have come from Minka Premo. I don't know the last time Frank Davis became a partner at Minka Premo. But he creates the impression that he's speaking for you, will insult everybody. That, as for what? Ken Ofori-Atta, is it palm kernel oil that is in? Oh, I mean, what sort of life is this? I don't need Ken Ofori-Atta in this country for anything apart from the fact that he must come and account. If he can come and show us where the monies are, the next available flight, he can go back. What do I need him here for? We were told that the man was ill. He was at the Mayo Clinic, only later to be told again by ICE that they picked him from his residence in Washington. Very expensive apartment. And ICE said that the man was that fit that he could be detained, when we have been told in this country that he was ill. You see how untruthful, dishonest some people respect in this country are. When they were creating the impression in our mind that the man was ill, you see how nature works. He was exposed by the very system that, no, he is fit. And indeed, the videos that I saw during his appearance at the immigration court, the man has become so handsome. So handsome. How did you see him? So fit that he could come and attend to our court business here. Victor Salome, he was sick. He was brought back. You see, prosecution does not know whether you are sick or not. Then all armed robbers, all that they will do is that they will say, I'm sick. Then you go and sit somewhere. Senator Ken Ofori-Atta, the inability of this current administration to bring him back will cause them that hefty defeat in 2028. Because that is what the United Party will be using to campaign. Operation Recover Olutu. That's what we are going to campaign on. And it was in their remit to bring him back. Because we cannot forget about the SML, we can't forget about PDS, we can't forget about National Cathedral and DDEP. Only 2 days ago, I was watching some of the videos in those days during the DDEP. That one doctor, Samuel Amakwe, an 81-year-old retired medical doctor who had invested in government bonds and said he had a problem with the kidney. That his bond was going to mature in 2023. He got affected. This man had to pick it at the Ministry of Finance. And he said this, that Mr. Ofori-Atta, for Christ's sake, do not kill me slowly, softly. When we are done, killing me softly, for me. You were killing them softly. They said that you wouldn't mind. You wouldn't even look at their face. They endured it. I don't know whether the man is still alive. We had Dr. Michael Ejekum tell all of us that his colleagues, 800 of them, had perished, had died because of some of the reckless decisions taken by Ken Ofori-Atta and the likes. Come and account, you say no, you won't come. Hey, so when you are no more, you bring the body into this country. Look, we must not create the impression that we have two sets of people in this country. Political class who are above the law and non-political class who are not above the law. Equality before the law. Someone is in Sawon because of plantain. Someone is in Sawon because of cocoyam. Someone is in Sawon because of a small one row. We are talking about billions. You led us to borrow 13.5 billion. We say come and account. If you come and there is nothing wrong with you, who can say anything otherwise? But this tactics of trying to say that we must assure you. Why must anybody assure anybody? There were about 124 ministers under the SOL administration. How many of them are facing these difficulties? Including the president himself, who led us to dig a big hole. Started paying David Ajay when there was no formal contract. He's talking about Philly. Thursday, he was even giving speeches. So what is it with Ken Ofori-Atta? And the longer he stays there, gives the indication that yes, he himself believes that he had done something untoward against the people of this country. Because when he was leaving this country, he never gave any indication to the authorities that he would change his residential status from a temporary visitor to a permanent resident. Now he is doing that. Clearly telling that Ghana, he doesn't have any interest in coming. And to add insult to injury, when the representative of the government, that is the ambassador to the United States of America, whose duty it is to make sure that Ghanaians' interests are protected, decides to come to your aid, he says no, he doesn't want to see anybody, he doesn't want to talk to anybody. He doesn't want to have anything to do with Ghana. Ghana says, no, we have one last thing to do with you, to do reconciliation. Check the accounts. Once you are done, you can then wash your hands off this country. We will take over. But this must serve as a lesson to also those who are in position today. That the very largesse, all the things you are enjoying, it comes from the sweat of the ordinary Ghanaian. The carriers, the tractor drivers, the taxi drivers, the teachers, the nurses, all those people whom we don't respect, it is their tax revenue that we mobilize and give it to the extent that every weekend when you open your fridge, it is stocked with beer, with Guinness and all those things. It is coming from the poor man. Why we do that is that we want to make your life comfortable so that you can make good judgment for all of us. If it's part of all these things, you not look at it and then you're steal from us or enter into bogus agreements, then we cannot pardon you. Now, I've heard people say that why are people picketing? I heard my brother say so. I was there myself at the American embassy. You see, the United States of America has been creating the impression in this world that when they don't want to hear the word corruption because they don't practice it. And one of the reasons why Africa, and for that matter Ghana, we are poor, we are underdeveloped, is because of what? Corruption. We say, yes, we have heard you, United States of America. We agree with you. Now, the country Ghana has sent or filed an extradition application with the United States of America. Now we are being told that it has to go through a long process. So what did we do as citizens of this country? Remember, the sovereignty of this country resides in the people. So we only went to the land of the United States. Mind you, the embassy is their land. To go and tell them, appeal to their conscience that you that have been telling us all this while that you do not want to hear any issues of corruption, corrupt officials, must not allow your country to be used as a corruption sanctuary. Hosting government officials from sub-Saharan Africa, and so on and so on. And so try your best to bring Ken Ofori-Atta down. That's what we did. And believe me, after that, we went to the extent of going to Shraj to also seek the assurances from Shraj and his boss that they will make sure that when Ken Ofori-Atta comes, his fundamental human rights are not what? Trampled on. The assurance was given. So what is that? We have to be applauded for this. And I believe that the new patriotic party should have joined on this occasion to send this message. Now that they are not joining this campaign to bring Ken Ofori-Atta back, how would they go on a campaign platform in election 2028 and say that, given the opportunity, they will fight corruption? Remember, when Wutumi was arrested, they went and sat at Yoko. When Hanan was arrested, they went and sat at Yoko. Anybody who has been accused of corruption, who was arrested, they protested. So does it mean as a political party and entity, you support corruption? For me, it doesn't present a very good picture of them or image of them. But I believe that the longer Ken Ofori-Atta stays in the United States, the better for the United Party. A lot of discerning minds will then know that indeed the party NPP under Nana Akufo-Addo came to loot the entire country, and never again would we allow looters the opportunity to lead us. I will end it here.
Thank you. And stay in the U.S. because there's this matter of Ken Ofori-Atta appearing before the U.S. court for the very first time. Remember, he's facing charges with issues to immigration and his visa. Because lawyer Doc has indicated to us that he has some things to respond to. I'll start with you, so you go ahead and also start with on the Ken Ofori-Atta matter.
Okay, just a matter of clarification. I was very strong about the fact that our country may have policies in terms of foreign relations, but my key thing was basically how it's communicated, and I think that it will be disingenuous on my co-panelist, to as it is, lump all the, let me say, unfortunate foreign affairs incidents to be something that we are rubber stamping. My key point here, and he must admit, my key point was that how Okudzato makes his statements needs to be well thought through, because his statements have repercussions to this nation. And listen, we've had instances where mainly even Cote d'Ivoire and co, their own former president, who's late, was very clear and categorical that TND fearsome. So what has changed? And I beg Mr. Pratt that it is quite unfortunate that he will, as it is, make a statement here on this very august program that we necessarily, by virtue of calling to order how our foreign affairs minister talks, to be that we support all the atrocities. That is not the case, and I think it's unfair. In all of this, the key thing here, which I hope he can appreciate, is the fact that I have said countless times that Okudzato now talks for the nation. And for that matter, even if we don't support, quote unquote, the Venezuela actions, there's a way to proceed. Words matter. Words have weight based on the position he holds. So, if he should restate exactly verbatim what Mahama said, maybe it will be a different matter, because John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency's words, when he speaks at Davos or wherever, is a statement that has been vetted and examined by a whole body. I mean, I don't think at this point in time I can say that His Excellency writes and then is not proofread. I can't say that. So my key point, you can't go to Twitter as a foreign affairs minister of this country and just write. I think so. And I started off from the embassy situation where I felt that Okudzato was selling our dirty linens, and that could have been handled within our country without making headlines in Washington that Ghanaian officials are corrupt. These are the points I made today. And I never for once said that, Gaza is cool. No, please. So I'll plead with you, and let's also admit that in governance, even in governance, there were people with a varying opinion under the MPP government. And likewise, I've made it clear here, which you even admit, that sometimes the MPP people tell you that they are not necessarily in support of this press conference. So I think let's be a bit fair, and let's focus on the key point that we think. And I also added the fact that the entire Mahama administration, his ministers, should be mindful of how they talk and what they say and when they say it. Because looking at the DSTV saga is one clear case. I think now Sam has retracted a bit, because it's not a minister's case to go and tell customers what a company will be doing. It is not. You know, so these are some of the things that I wish to submit. Now, coming to the new topic. In fact, I also didn't comment on the ambassadors thing.
Yeah, you did.
I thought it's trivial. So if you watch in my statement here, I could care less about it. But since we've come to Ken Ofori-Atta, let me be very clear here. Nana Addo was blamed, or as it is, castigated for having over 100 ministers. By virtue of us being in opposition, I think the only minister in question who is unable to travel freely between Ghana and the rest of the world is Ken Ofori-Atta. Have we heard anything about all the other ministers? They're all free to move about, go and come. So it is not the posture of the MPP that our former ministers should not, as it is, engage the current government with regards to questioning or interrogation. So that is very important that I put out. It is also not the MPP's position that Ken Ofori-Atta should remain in exile, quote unquote. In fact, let me be first to admit that literally he defied over 80 MPs when we called him to order. That his approach to our finances, he had lost confidence in the Ghanaian people. He defied it. Okay? So may I say that the beginning of his ending was probably then. And his posture with not, as it is, appreciating the call to certain actions began from there. So I'm here to talk as a true patriot of the party and to make it known that these are an individual's action. I haven't met Nana Addo one-on-one yet, but I can tell you for a fact that even he, Nana Addo, is here in the country, can go and come at ease. And I'm sure in his mind, he's wondering, why did we get here? Why have we come to this? But let me also add that to be the devil's advocate in all of this too, the NDC has weaponized bail system to the extent that, you know, the track record of the bail system under the NDC regime has been a bit exorbitant, and they'll tell me that you should go to court and have it reviewed down. Why must I necessarily get an exorbitant bail term and have to go to court? Let's start it off well. You know, this track record of ambushing people with AK-47s in their homes, very barbaric. And I would hope that the same vim that Mr. Pratt spoke this morning, he would do the same with regards to how the NDC has been approaching people in their homes with their wife and kids. If you're talking about Venezuela's president and wife, the ordinary Ghanaian citizen who may have faulted the NDC, how have we approached them? This boy in Medina, I don't remember his name, but they went there, you know, with the AK-47. This boy has not wielded even a pistol before. And, you know, rumors of his pregnant wife going through issues and all that. So I really think that let us question how people have been detained excessively. People before going to court, how they've been handled. These are some of the things that begs the question. And for somebody, and let me put this on record again, you know, Ken Ofori-Atta was nominated. We had to wait painfully for 6 months before he was vetted and confirmed in this country for ill health. So when Sebi, this man who has been guarding his health with millions of whatever, whether cedis or dollars, as it is, has the, you know, opportunity now to rather face a very unpredictable government in terms of how they handle people who have not been proven guilty, then he will be wary. And we are human. He will be wary. And for that matter, as a fair new, he'll take the exile bid. You understand? I mean, yes. And these are the realities, whether you like it or not. His detention in the U.S. for the next whatever months will buy him even more time to ascertain his health conditions are appropriate. Now, I know when you are guilty, supposedly guilty, or even convicted, your health should not be deprived from you unless in instances where even there's a death penalty. And even in death penalty, I must admit that even you are killed in a very humanistic way. Even when we are to kill you, it is not by firing squad anymore. Literally. So my key question or my key contribution is that, listen, I also want to hear those guarantees for the finance minister, former finance minister, from the government, because as for now, let's be frank, your character in terms of how you've managed the buffer stock man, the NSS girl, quite a number of people, hasn't been something to write home about. You literally block all the accounts, put their hands behind them, and then tell them cough up several hundreds of thousands as bail terms. I mean, how does that work? To me, he's not the person I love or adore, but as it stands now, he's a human being. And for crying out loud, this public jury system has to stop. Let's know the actual counts, take them to court. After all, let the record speak that any defendant can choose not to speak in court. He can leave all his talking to his lawyers and also meeting. So absentia is also a pathway. And when we are done and we have convicted him of X amount of crimes, then the whole world will know that this man is being sought for in Ghana for this particular conviction. And it strengthens our case as a country. But when we do all of these things and it's all, a charade, we're calling people out as charlatans, but we are not necessarily proven beyond reasonable doubt. And we're only doing things. And let me be clear with you that the Attorney General himself, has been changing goalposts, from when they started oral. Then he himself comes to say that, these things were not substantive. He keeps changing. And even the list of items that they had for the finance minister over time, now that we're nearing court, there's been changes. So I beg, in all fairness, that, listen, the MPP party had over 100 ministers. Ken Ofori-Atta is one out of the many. And most of them, the likes of Napo, Esla, they've made themselves available for whatever questions the current establishment had. There will be bad apples. Supposing that Ken Ofori-Atta is a bad apple, please, we'll manage it. But let's look at the bigger picture, in the sense that there were over 100 ministers, and there might be that one agent who's a free agent, even in government, was a free agent. And rumor has it that he was, as it is, very powerful, even more than the Constitution dictated as a finance minister. So I think that there's been much to do about nothing. In reference to the press, or as it is, what occurred at the American embassy. I don't support it. It's in bad taste. It sells our country wrong. It sends the wrong images. They could have just done that anywhere and had a press conference and made their statement. Why go necessarily to the American embassy? It won't do focal. The country have their rights. They'll take a decision regardless of the pressures in this country. And I think that should they have even written a very extensive letter to the American ambassador and published it, it would have been even more fantastic. Most of the noise I heard was without substance, and especially when this man is under detention now by the ICE, and a judge has given order that until April something his case will not be heard. Whatever you do here will not necessarily matter. So in all of this, I think that we're giving too much steam to something that I think that the Attorney General has every right in him to go to court and get the case started in absentia. After all, the man has lawyers, and let the Ghanaian people follow. If he's convicted and the judgment comes that he should spend X amount in jail and his properties be, confiscated. He has properties, which we all know in this country, then so be it. But all of this noise in the media domain is becoming a bit too much. And you see, let me also conclude on the fact that what we are doing still reflects on us as political leaders in total. When we call out, and I always said that, listen, to borrow from John Dramani Mahama, the Airbus issue, when we finished, eventually we had literally damaged his reputation for nothing. And if it has happened to John Dramani Mahama, and even the cocoa man, what was his name? The cocoa Opuni, all of this 8 years for nothing. If it's happened to these characters, the likes of our current president, then we should all bear in mind that it could be a similar situation. And by the end of all of this hula baloo, we might be calling the cat black, but it was a holy cat. It's possible. It's happened before. Our very eyes. And mind you, Ken Ofori-Atta will not go down easy. That one I can tell you. He won't. He won't. Because we've seen it with the Airbus. Mahama didn't go down easy. He made sure that all that castigation, he'll be cleared. Opuni, we thought once we got to government, the next day he'll be jailed. Did it happen? It didn't. And mind you, Ken is brutal as it stands. Don't take him for a joke. So in all of this, let's not victimize, because it is reflecting on you. You are a member of parliament, Eventually, we are putting question mark in the minds of those who vote for us. And we are doing it so badly that well-meaning Ghanaians who are doing politics are all being branded in a certain way, which invariably we all know that some of us do it with passion and in truthfulness. And this approach of once we are in power, castigating, damaging reputations, we should learn to stop. I mean, let me say that there are 50 states in America. Donald Trump picks on Minnesota because the guy was a potential vice president. He picks on California because California is after him.
He has picked on your family too. Vance is
Yes.
from Ohio.
So the Vance thing is because they have a Republican they want to unseat the current, No, I'm saying that they want to unseat that guy.
Look, please wrap up.
So in wrapping up, All of this Ken noise is a reflection also on the political class. And I think that we should manage the information well. Some of the castigations are becoming a bit worrisome in the sense that it is impacting our democracy and adversely creating problems for all of us in the political sphere. Once you open your mouth that you're a politician, hey, that means, you know, the school kid on the block characterizes you as, oh, the thief. And please, I think for me, it won't help us. It won't help us. Okay. And we need to be mindful of that. I rest my case.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.